Welcome, everybody, to the showcase portion of today's discussion. I'm honored to share the stage with Kurumiimari from ShakeDex and Chad Folk from RealtyDAO. So thank you guys for showing up. So I guess the first question I'd like to throw out there is, what were you guys doing before you discovered Handshake?
Which one of us do you want to go first?
Chad Folk.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you. I can't see
Yeah.
you. I don't know if... Perfect. There it is.
I don't mind doing that. What were we doing before Handshake?
Yep.
Domains. Been in the domain business for 25 years. Started back in 1996. So it was kind of, we heard about Handshake, kind of we knew it was going on under the hood for a number of years. And then I kind of just, the decentralization component, just the narrative keeps playing out. So that's when we kind of made a decision. We like all the parameters of Handshake, decentralization, just what it means, kind of the ethos. So that's when we said about March, or let's say May, is when we went full in on Handshake, about May.
Absolutely, yeah. I think a lot of people get brought in because of the decentralization aspect. And you, Kurumiimari?
I've been in crypto for a long time now, probably 8 years. So before Handshake, it was Bitcoin and ETH. Got into Handshake because I thought it solved a really big, interesting problem, which was, how do you solve Zuko's triangle? I think it is if it's Zuko's triangle is the one that says that you can't have a decentralized, secure, human-readable identifier. So that's what brought me here. And I also really liked the distribution mechanics through the airdrop. It was less ICO and much more Bitcoin, and I thought that was really, really cool. So that's why I'm here today.
Yeah, that's a great part of Handshake. So Chad Folk, tell us more about what you're doing at RealtyDAO and what your vision is for it.
Yeah, I think RealtyDAO is really becoming an automated digital REIT for these domains. So we call them real estate. So we have we manage a pretty big portfolio of .com assets for clients. And so we backed into about 1,000 Handshake names. And we're really trying to get that the tokenization of those assets so we can really start moving those assets around between portfolios. So it's really a digital REIT for Handshake names and top-level domains.
Yeah, feel free to, if you would like to give a demonstration of the site, or there's a share screen option. I think a lot of people would. So.
Yeah, I mean, I think, let's see here. Let me see if I can go to this panel here. Yeah, well, I'll just do the 30,000 foot because it's choose a tab, sharing the screen. Choose the application or tab option, sharing the screen. I'm not sure if it's allowed me to share it.
Yeah, I saw your screen, but.
Can you see the screen?
Yeah.
Oh, can you see that?
Yep.
Okay.
If you can. That would be great.
Yeah, see full screen. Let me go here. Yeah, so again, so the thesis is, so we like Ethereum. We've been with Ethereum for a number of years. So we like the programmability of it. And so the vision has always been to create really AI DAOs on domains. And so when we say that, we think domains have a lot of technology to go to put underneath it. And so when we saw Vitalik mentioned what programming language, what Ethereum was doing, we saw that as another good layer to layer on top of these assets. And so what RealtyDAO is trying to do is really create more liquidity across more assets. And so we fractionalize these assets so we can get moving between portfolios. Because one of the problems in the physical domain space is a lot of these assets are locked up in small silos. And we're not creating more value through sharing collaborative transparency and stuff. So that's kind of our agenda with RealtyDAO, is to really create an autonomous real estate holding and development company backed by these assets. And we do that by wrapping these domains with these smart contracts. So I know, again, with some of the other developments with Badass and these other ones, that's awesome because the composability and transparency is really important. So these smart contracts, so what we do here again, is just kind of, you can see some of the assets on chain. So what we chose to do is really, we lead in with our .coms because that's where the traffic is and the values are, but we're really trying to decentralize ourselves over the next 3 to 5 years. And meaning like, for example, we manage acting.com, and we also have .acting. So what we'll start doing is the front face will be acting.com, but we'll be storing and managing it on .acting, mainly because, again, the decentralization. Being in the root zone, being with ICANN. I went to ICANN before ICANN existed, to the White House. So we saw that transgression with ICANN and abuse of power. And that's why we're saying, let's support this decentralized root zone on Handshake. And so our strategy is really to complement the two, but slowly decentralize over the next 3 to 5 years. So again, I'm not going to really go into too much of this, but what we have, so when we tokenize domains, again, these are assets that are on chain, meaning you can interact with the smart contract. I'll get to some of these. And so some of these are priced a little higher because we price our domains higher than a domain, lower than a startup. And we're really back into this stuff. And so again, you can come in here. Let me log in. I'm going to log into a website here. Can you still see the screen?
Yes.
Okay, so I'm going to log in. So this is the back end, kind of when you log in into the system. So this is the interface
of the domains and the ownership.
Yeah, so we tokenize it to fractionalize it, right? To cut it up. And so again, this is our dashboard. So we see new assets coming in, just kind of some of our updates, because it's really hard when you tell people transparency is a business model, and you just got to share everything, right? That's just with blockchains in general. So this is some of the, again, the valuation, again, wrapping on here. This is some activity. Again, I'm going through it really fast, but our DNA assets, watch list, buy transactions. But I want to get into the good stuff. So the DNAs, we call them digital native assets. Again, you can see here, so you can see some of the names Rdao owns. You can upvote it. You can put it on your watch list. You can sponsor it. So like say if you want to sponsor iFund, you could come in here and sponsor iFund. That pays that puts the contract on chain, and that goes into our decentralized marketplace. And that's how you do it. So we could put that on chain, but we won't right now. And then here is our marketplace. So these are live on-chain assets. So let's say .chain. So we actually went up and acquired .chain on the open market for a decent amount of money because we realized that somebody could actually get closer to our customer with these TODs. So in this example, we can get the tokens. You can see the token address. We basically have to push you into your membership to the smart contract, and then you can start interacting with this asset. And that's why we hope that Ethereum and Handshake actually realize that we can work together because this is a different kind of asset class. So this is where, and then you get a referral system and connect your wallets. But what I'll show you guys, I'll show you the meat and potatoes. And so this is something we've been working on. So this is a back-end system that we built, custom built for domains. And so we can come in here and say manage domains. Again, it's a lot. We'll just go into one asset classes. So when we see DNAS, Handshake is one asset class. We're doing tokens, .coms, etc. And this is where we run basically a DAO. The governance comes in here. People can vote on different updates. You can bulk add. You can do a lot of good stuff. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you even better. So when we put a domain on chain, this is your management page of the asset. So each asset, so for example, this is .cowork. We really have to make it easy for people to start contributing into these assets, whether it's staking on them, putting code to them, content to them, etc. So that's where we think we're going to get the real value, is adding utility behind these assets. So we manage all this stuff underneath our operating system. And this is the operating system. So we can build co-work, we can edit it, we can do things that do, again, I'm not going to go into a bunch of that stuff, but what I wanted to get into, let's do add a new asset. So let's say we have a new TLD. We come into here, add a new TLD. And so this could be your asset, and then you put your description, your price, how much you want to sell Rdao. And so when we mint it, we actually are acquiring some of these shares in your asset. You can set your e-shares limit. So if you only want to sell 20% of your domain, you can put a staking period on there in our smart contract. And then this is our bid site. You pulled it from Namebase API. Do you have a personal node? So how do you get into the system? And so this is where you can kind of put a domain into our system, our operating system.
That's incredible.
Yeah, let's have some more fun. Let's just do managed DNAs. And so we have another thing called contrib. So contrib is really a business model to say we had to say, how do we get more people participating in these assets? And again, this is an example of let's just go iClaim. And this is what we just launched pretty recently. So you can see the hash, you can see who owns it. You can push this on chain to our marketplace. And we just updated a couple of things to where if you want to mint your domain, this is where you mint it. So I can mint it with its own token, put its own supply. I can move my assets around, and then I can push that to the chain. And then, again, when I do that, I can set up subdomains on, let's do, what's on this one? Let's do insurance. Insurance. And this is what's going to do insurance for iClaim. You can do different frameworks. So we're going to be adding more frameworks on. So this is a GitHub hosted website. So right now, what we're doing is we're going to put the subdomain on a GitHub framework. And so it's free hosting on GitHub. And that's what it's doing right now. So we're basically creating a subdomain. Now, I know some other people are doing like Sidecoin, IPFS, and we'll eventually integrate those distributed storage systems. And we'll eventually integrate, again, anything that can get to distributed systems, we will integrate. Right now, we're using this Handshake or GitHub to host some of these websites on this framework. And that's what it's doing right now. So it's free hosting, which is great because hosting can get really expensive. Mm-hmm. And then we'll add frameworks. So depending on your domain, you'll probably want to pick that framework to make it just not look generic to a utility. So I'm going to jump out of this one here. But anyways, that's a cool one. Again, size next, SciNet will be next. We'll integrate into there. Again, you can see we can see our files. So we're going to start adding in legal contracts, just different forms you want to start sending. You can see our transactions, which are none. We meant this, you can push this now to our mother NFT. So now, again, this isn't anything new. Kiba and those guys are doing some of the other stuff too with the NFTs. But what is different than ours is ours goes on to OpenSea. So now when you mint this, you can push it to OpenSea and you can now start selling your domain on OpenSea.
Wow.
You can see the properties, the contributors, the theoretical value. And now you can start doing this stuff. So now when you tokenize it, you really can now jam it into Ethereum DeFi. Yeah, so this is pretty cool. So this is, again, we've NFT version 4 contract. So these smart contracts are going to get really a lot better. But that's an interesting thing that we just finished, is when you push that, it'll automatically push it into the marketplaces that you want.
So anyone can submit their top level their Handshake top level domain into RealtyDAO? or is that like an application process?
Yeah. So the reason why we love Handshake is the open. You know what's in the Rdao wallet, right? So when you tokenize it, you can see what's in the wallet, and so custody is the number one thing. And so we can't be trading Rdao value if we don't have custody of the assets. We'll expand that later to extending that leverage out later, but for now, Rdao has to own the assets. So legally, we're just being really cautious on exposing ourselves to legal contracts. Mm-hmm. Only because custody. Because if we're minting a token and you're trading on it, and the asset can be moved, well, that's not a good thing. So here's like our DNS records, and so if you want to add MX records and DNS records and text records, you'll be able to manage all your stuff inside here. If you want to set up DNS records, look, all this stuff is still early, mm-hmm. and the composability is really important. But I don't want to go into too far. But so again, the real goal is to say we have to add utility to these assets. Excuse me. Number one, we want to bring in a distributed business model where anybody in the world can contribute to this asset, and we want to be really transparent, so that anybody that can see the participation of how they valued it. So that's an important thing right there.
And I believe you have a token, or Rdao is the ticker, I believe.
Yeah.
Where does that come into play?
Well, it's okay. So that's the aggregated REIT. So the Rdao token is the REIT, okay. And so you can see it right here. So what we have in here again, we got a lot of information, or excuse me, privatization going after digital real estate.
Okay.
And so the Rdao token is our currency that basically uses this programming language to operate autonomously.
Okay. Somebody asked if there's liquidity mining going on for the Rdao token.
Yeah. Yep. We do have liquidity mining. Oh yeah, I forgot that. That was a good one. Yes, we do. You can set that up. Trying to think here. Let's see here. Yes, we're giving 20% additional on top of the Rdao.
Okay.
So yes, there's liquidity mining in Rdao right now.
Awesome.
Got a good referral system in there too. I think that's going to be the real key. So what people don't understand, what I want to kind of bring out is, again, this operating system, what we built for domains, it's really a series of integrated applications. So referrals.com does referrals. eShares.com does cap table. eServices.com does services. So we build the mechanism on the URL and then integrate it in. That's how we can compose and wrap these mechanisms around these URLs. And that's really what we're doing, is we're a wrapper.
Awesome.
And we wrap the shit here. I won't show our sniper system, but we have a pretty good automated sniper system. And so now, again, we're trying to turn this where the governance, the Rdao will buy its own and sell its own domains. Again, these are some of our names that we go into. TLD list, transactions, our wallet. So with Bob Wallet, that's kind of where we had to build our own. Because again, we do stuff in bulk. And again, like bulk switch, bulk new domains, bulk rebuild. And so again, we're trying to really become the operating system for domains.
That's really great.
Yep. So yeah, so that's some of the cool stuff. Some of the cool stuff that we're working on.
Awesome.
Oh shit! There's one other thing. So this is a really important one. Let's just go to another one. Let's just go to movie IQ as an example. So I mentioned the contribution component because it's really important. We have to get people contributing value into these assets. Otherwise, a million domain names later, we're going to be in a buy-sell framework. And so with every URL, once you have the theoretical value in the smart contract on chain, this is how people come in and contribute into your domain. So you can say, again, just assume that's not a .com, it's a TLD. And you can come in here, put it in there, and say, I'll do code at $100. We lock that, and we put it on a side chain, and when you deliver it, it updates on chain to that theoretical value, and then it goes in and it updates the theoretical value based on the contribution delivered. That's how we automate the entities. So that's a pretty cool thing. Yeah, we just do that. Yeah, so boom, comes in here. We get the contribution tab. We can sort it by cash or equity. Come on. So again, this on the left side is your tool set. You can incorporate your domain. You can add legals. You can build cap tables, social media mechanisms, service orders, edit them, put it on frameworks, theoretical value logs. That's not working there. So that's the tool set. So what we're trying to do is Rdao is trying to acquire, partner, lease option, good value domains that can come into the system and ecosystem and basically participate.
I think it's really great that you're working with Handshake. I think Handshake really fits into this model.
It's important for us because again, we know the wrath. We know the wrath of VeriSign and ICANN. I mean, it's no joke. I mean, and so we saw Handshake as being that thorn in the ass of ICANN because nobody else would. And so if we don't want to risk eShares.com being centralized and taken away, right? Because we know that that's the narrative that's going to play out over time. Is the decentralization is a security risk if you stay centralized. And that narrative is going to continue over time, play out, whether it's a DNS hack, whether it's a government takeover, whether it's a censorship. So now we're telling people to get decentralized and decentralized on Handshake. And so, again, now that we have .ish on a de-webbed system, on a de-webbed distribution of eShares.com, but we also get the decentralization and security mechanism of doing a .handshake on a TLD. So it protects us. So our initial acquisition strategy was to protect the .com portfolio, migrate over to the D-Web over the 3 to 5 years, and then that takes a better defensive position for us. So that's what we're trying to do: create an automated blockchain-based marketplace for domains.
Really great work. Really great work.
Yep.
Well, so I guess next I'd like to move on to Kurumiimari. If you'd like to give a demonstration of ShakeDex, I think it's really great what you're doing as well, and a needed aspect of Handshake.
Yeah, the composability, right, is the great thing. Is open source composability. This acceleration of speed is going to happen. And I think these digital native assets are sitting in the right sweet spot.
Yep.
From an asset class. So, but yeah, thank you for the time. And yes, liquidity mining, we're doing it. Again, it's decentralized. The governance is going to be evolving, but it's in the code base to be decentralized. And we give 2% pledged into impact programs. So all of our Handshake names will pledge 2% of the cap table into like HNS Fund and these other ecosystems.
What?
So don't trust us, trust the code. And that's what we're doing. That's our commitment to Handshake. So thank you for your time. Yeah, thank you.
Thanks for coming. Kurumiimari, are you there?
Yeah, can everybody still hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
All right, lovely. I'm going to share my screen and then just get right to it. Let's see, application window, this one, share. All right, can everybody see it?
Yeah, loading. Yeah, we can see you.
All right, computer says yes. So what I'm going to do today is I'm going to talk a little bit about ShakeDex. So I'm going to talk about what it is, the protocol, its history, and what it stands for. And then I'm going to go over a quick demo, and then I'm actually going to launch a fundraising auction for ShakeDex directly from this talk. And I'm going to walk everybody through how it actually works. So let's get started. Just a quick heads up, this is going to be a little bit technical. I'm going to go over the sort of protocol details of ShakeDex because I think it's important. And the reason why I think it's important is that ShakeDex isn't a website or a CLI tool. It's a protocol that anybody can use with no permission from me, with no no parameters that somebody else is setting. It's entirely up to you how you want to use it. I've just built tools that make interacting with the protocol a little easier. So let's talk about the protocol. So we're going to do ShakeDex protocol, and we're going to look at the Alice side. So this is the Alice side. Alice is the one who is going to be selling their name. So the way ShakeDex works is in order to sell your name, you need to do two things. You need to transfer your name to a locking script, which I'll explain in a second. And then you create a bag of pre-signs that somebody else goes and fills in. So this is what the full flow of transactions looks like. So we have a name here called Superdope, and I own Superdope as Alice. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to start by transferring it to the locking script that you see on the right-hand side here. Let's see if I can get my cursor in there. Oh, look at that, I can. All right. So what this locking script does is it prevents this name from being spent to any output except one that is either a transfer or finalized covenant. And the reason why this is important is because without this, if you sell your name, you have the ability to revoke, and you also have the ability to cancel the underlying transfer. So this locking script makes the transfer atomic. This is a protocol that Zipkin, Timeway, Falchi, Brandon Dees, and a bunch of other people developed as part of HIP1. But I just went and implemented on top of it. So, major thanks to those amazing folks for putting this together and making it so easy for me to build this. So we've transferred it now, and this is Handshake, so we have to do the two-phase commit. We finalize. So the name is now irrevocably, well, not irrevocably, but it's on-chain as belonging to the locking script that we talked about previously. And what we're going to do next is we're going to create our bag of pre-signs. So this long thing here is what goes into the pre-sign. So the pre-sign basically takes an input, that's going to be our finalize, and it creates two outputs. It creates a transfer to anybody, and I'll explain how that works in a second. And it creates a payment to Alice. It applies a lock time. That's important. I'll also explain that momentarily. And it signs it using Alice's key using SIG hash single reverse. So SIG hash single reverse is a really powerful tool. It's implemented as part of the Handshake protocol. And what it does basically is it takes the first input and the last output and signs over them. And the reason that's important is that we need to basically make this name unspendable unless whoever it is that's buying the name funds it and pays Alice. So this is the what goes into the pre-signs. So when you're using the ShakeDex CLI and it creates the pre-signs, they get uploaded to shakedex.com or whatever. This is what's actually happening under the hood. Cool. So now let's talk about the lock time and why that's important. The reason why the lock time is important is that without this, there's no way to prevent people from spending your pre-sign before a particular point in time. And when you combine that with a set of decrementing prices, so basically the 10,000 HNS here might start at 10,000 HNS and then go down to like say 1,000 HNS, you can spread that out over a certain period of time. And what that creates is something called a reverse Dutch auction. So you can have price discovery for a name in a completely decentralized manner. So that's the Alice side. Slap F in chat if you want me to do that again.
They say they want a clubhouse call on this, that they can listen to 90 minutes of this.
All right, well, that can maybe be arranged. I just need to figure out how to plug my vocoder into the iPhone. All right. So this is the Bob side. So, like you probably guessed, Bob needs to fund this transaction. So everything in dashed here is what Bob is going to be adding to this output, to this transaction rather. So for the input, they're going to add a coin. In this case, the coin is 10,002 HNS. 10,000 coins to pay Alice, 1 coin for the one HNS for the change, and 1 HNS to pay for network fees. What he then does is he'll add the change in the middle of the transfer and the payment. And then he's going to sign it using SIGHASH all. And at this point in time, that name is irrevocably Bob's. Why is it irrevocably Bob's? Well, if you remember that locking script, the locking script only allows a transfer and a finalize. So since the name is currently in the transfer state, and in order for the name to, go basically anywhere else, it can either be canceled or finalized, and the script prevents the cancel from happening. So this name just belongs to Bob now, and all Bob has to do is finalize the transfer after the 48-hour period is up, and that's what the ShakeDex CLI does. It lets you go through this full flow, and then it creates all these transactions for you. Now, you do have to do some ShakeDex, the CLI does some key management outside of the Handshake wallet, because these are sort of new transactions the Handshake wallet, the one that's built into the node, isn't familiar with. So you do need to store some state elsewhere, but you don't have to use any of the tools that I'm about to show you in order to use this. So I'm going to create an auction now. So basically in my left-hand side tab here, I've got a Handshake wallet running, and then on my right-hand side, I've got the terminal that you've all come to know and love. So ShakeDex, the CLI tool, you give it a network, so I'm going to give it main. Right now the default is regtest, and then you give it a wallet ID, so I'm going to give this my own wallet ID, and let's go list auctions. Hopefully it works, and it did. So these are two names that I'm going to be auctioning off, Chips and Silverhand. So ignore the fact that it says auction live for Silverhand because I haven't actually pushed it yet. But let's get some participation from the audience to further development of ShakeDex. Which name are people interested in auctioning? Hopefully people want to participate, otherwise I'm just going to pick one. All right, we have 1 vote for Chips. It's 2 votes for Chips. 3 votes for Chips. Holy shit, everybody. Everybody loves Chips up in here. All right, so let's do it. So ShakeDex, -n main, -w, Kurumiimari, create auction Chips. So we're going to give it a time period. I'm going to give it 2 weeks. And now we pick our starting price. So this is a high price because remember, it's going to go down over time. I'm going to go for that audience participation thing again. 1, because I'm terrible at pricing things, and 2, because I think it's fun. What do you guys want me to start the price at? Aim high, because it's going to land somewhere lower, most likely. All right, we got 25 grand is currently the highest. We got 10,000. 69 from Jonathan Frakes here. Lots of 420 references. I like this crowd. This is a fun crowd. Let's try it. You know what? I like this idea. Let's do this one. I think this is everyone's. Actually, this one sounds nicer. That's better because the 69 is higher than the 420. All right, and so now we pick the price that we'd like to end the auction at. So let's just end this at 4269, the other way around. And we're going to store our auction pre-signs in my home directory as chips.json. And it's going to give me, let's see. Oh, haha. I want to do something else on my dev version. Hold on. ShakeDex. And let's just run this again. ShakeDex-n main, create auction chips. We're going to do 14 days, and we're going to do it every 30 minutes. So it's going to drop in price quite often. So let's see. We said we were going to do 69, 420. There we go. And then 4269, just like that. Super awesome. Home chips.json. Okay, this is going to take a second because it's producing a whole gang of pre-signs. So this lets me check out the different prices before I post them. These auction parameters look absolutely lovely. Enter yes, and let's actually publish these to shakedex.com. Hopefully it works. And it blew up. Wrong content type. I'll have to fix that. But anyway, had it worked, it would have shown up on shakedex.com. And so shakedex.com actually has a feature where I can upload these things myself. So maybe I can use that. Let's take a look at shakedex.com really quickly. You can see that I made this VM just for this call. Still has all the Firefox default pages and shit. Anyway, this is ShakeDex.com. Basically, what ShakeDex.com is it's a website that hosts these pre-signs. So remember how I mentioned earlier that these, you don't have to use any of these tools. You also don't have to use ShakeDex.com. I can beam one of the pre-signs to the moon and hire a skywriter to write it, and it doesn't matter. People are going to be able to redeem nevertheless. As an example, we actually had our first sale of Handshake fans here a couple days ago for 51.25 HNS. And you can see some of the other ones that are currently running right here, which looks like is 23187.5 for Handshake D, and it's just going to drop over time. One other thing that's worth noting is that this little cat means that you can click it and you can fill it directly from within Bob. Now, I personally don't use Bob. I use a CLI and some Python tools that I wrote. But Bob, I mean, it's a GUI wallet. It's the best GUI wallet. I highly recommend you do use it if you're not comfortable with the CLI. So let's see if I can actually upload these. Maybe we can do some live debugging. That would be kind of fun. So let's see. Where did I put it even? There it is. You know what? I bet we have to delete the version identifier. So let's do that. So vi chips.json. Let's nuke that version identifier right quick. Okay, and then let's try it. Submit that listing. Kurumiimari, chips.json. It's 112K. Open. Unexpected character, line 1, column 1 of the JSON data. I'll have to fix this later and post it on my Twitter. I don't want to bore you all with me fixing my buggy code, but that's the general idea. This will go live in probably the next couple of hours. I'm sure it's just something really, really simple that I did here. Anyway, that's ShakeDex. I have a lot of plans for where I want it to go in the future. I mean, my personal goal for it is to, basically have it be the dominant way that people exchange names on Handshake. You need on-ramps, you do need off-ramps. People can actually get the handshake and get the fiat, but the more people use the native ecosystem, the better. And if we don't have robust user-friendly tools on the native ecosystem, Handshake won't go anywhere. And from everything I've seen so far, we're building those tools, and I want to be a part of the community that helps out. So I have no idea how much time I have left, but I don't know. If people have questions, let's.
I think this is essential for true decentralization, so we're not wrapped around name base. This is incredible. I don't think we have.
I'm glad you like it.
I don't think we have questions, so I think we're low on time, so we're gonna have to wrap it up now. But thank you guys so much for coming on and showing us what you're working on. I think
all right. Go ahead. Sorry.
I think everyone's super impressed with what you guys are doing. So thank you so much.
No problem. Thanks everyone for coming. And I'll post those names. And like I said, I'm going to be fundraising on this, and hopefully, show your support if you're interested. Cheers, y'all. Thank you.
Where can people go to find you?
Yes, please.
Sorry, what was that?
Audience members, for Chad, I've seen so many. We need a whole clubhouse call on this. Where can people follow up with Chad? Where can people really get to chat with you, Kuru?
Well, we do Tuesday nights at 9 o'clock Eastern, called Decentralized. So if you just go d.centralized, 9 o'clock Tuesday nights, we run that. We talk handshake, domains.
What time zone is that?
Eastern time, 9 p.m. Tuesday nights. We've had Tayshaun on there and ENS, and we kind of freeloaded, but it's talking about the strengths and weaknesses of centralized, decentralized systems, kind of how it affects people, things that we'd be careful of, stuff like that. So again, educating people on Handshake that's part of the reason how it relates to them. And so a lot of people have a lot of questions or interested. They just don't know where to start. So that's kind of what we're backing it down to getting more people educated. But we're going to start ramping it up and more technical. Tuesdays at 9 in Clubhouse.
Awesome. Kurumiimari, how can people follow up?
Yeah, hit me up on Twitter, twitter.com/Kurumiimari. And I have good news, folks. The auction is now posted. I fixed it while we were talking here, so that's good news. But yeah, twitter.com/Kurumiimari. You can also join the ShakeDex Discord. You can hit me up in there. Otherwise, yeah, I'm just an anime character on the internet, so you know where to find me.
Well, straightforward enough. All right, this next session, guys, co-founders, creators of Handshake coming up. Well.